What's up everyone, Matt here, and I've been planning this video out for a while, so I'm really happy that it's finally time to release it to all of you. Today, I'm giving you a draft preparation guide for the Draft League format in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Now, as I just said, this is a guide and not a step-by-step tutorial on how to draft, and the most important thing that you can do in the Draft League format is to enjoy yourself. That's really why we're all here. Now, before I get into my official tips and tricks, I want to explain why I believe I'm qualified to talk about this. So I've been in about 20 seasons of leagues, and I've drafted all but 3 of those teams. The other 3 I've taken over from coaches midway through the season, and I've actually never missed out on the playoffs. I've always finished with more wins than losses, and to me, a strong draft makes up about 40% of a player's ability to succeed in the format. The remaining 60% is based off of a player's skill and comfort with their team, and the weekly matchups. Over the past 7 to 8 months, my drafting has improved a lot. It's gone from okay to giving me a good enough chance to win based on my matchup every week. At that point, all I need to do is find the right set and I can be very successful. Now, I don't claim to be the best player or even drafter on YouTube or even just in the community alone, but I have enough knowledge that hopefully will be able to make all of you better players before your next draft. Anyways, make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make a ton of awesome Pokemon content and hopefully it can go straight to your sub box in the near future. Also, be sure to leave suggestions for future Draft League videos in the comment section below. And you know what? Just hit the like button like crazy, because for every like on this video, I will do 10 push-ups. Next time you guys see me, I'll be much more muscular and stuff like that. Yeah. Moving on, here are 12 tips and tricks for how to prepare for a draft in Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon Draft League format. Number 1. Draft something that you want to build around. With my first pick, I always pick a Pokemon that I want to draft around, whether it's offensive like Mega Lopunny, defensive like Skarmory, or a mixed bag of tricks like Mew, or even something new like Naganadel or something like that. I always draft what I know I will enjoy using. My suggestion is to draft something that is fun, that you're good with, or that you've never used before. This will help you get more comfortable and help you out when you go up against those Pokemon in future leagues. Number 2. Determine if you want to use any offensive or defensive cores. There are 3 typing cores I'm going to bring up today. The first is the Fire, Water, Grass core. This core is very basic. It covers a lot of powerful and common moves that every team has, and usually Pokemon of these types have good stat distributions and abilities. They resist many common types and can still be powerful on offense. The second core is a Fairy, Dragon, Steel core, which resists every type in the game except for Ground and Ghost. They provide key immunities for other members of the core. Fairy types are weak to poison types, but Steel types are immune to poison. Dragon types bother other dragons, but Fairies are immune. They cover each other very well, and offensively, they're insanely powerful. This core also has a lot of Pokemon with dual typing, so there could be Fairy and Psychic types, Fairy and Grass types, there can be Dragon and Flying types, Dragon and Ground types, whatever it may be. A lot of Pokemon in this Fairy, Dragon, Steel core actually have a lot of dual typings. Finally is the least known core of the 3 that I'm bringing up. It is the Fighting Psychic Dark core, and this core is primarily offensive because of their powerful physical and special moves like Aura Sphere, Close Combat, Psyshock, Psycho Cut, Dark Pulse, Knockoff. The types aren't as common as the 6 I mentioned before, and I suggest drafting at least 2/3 of this core because they put a lot of offensive pressure on an opponent. There are also cores that don't involve types that are still very useful. There are Regenerator cores, which are made up of multiple Regenerator Pokemon. These Pokemon can come in, take a hit, and switch out while gaining back some health in the process. There are weather cores like Rain with Pelipper and Kingdra or Mega Swampert. There's Sand like Mega T-Tar, or regular T-Tar at least, and Excadrill and others. There are other weather cores, but they aren't as popular as Rain and Sand. Cores are all about finding Pokemon that fit well together, and that's what this is all about. Number 3. Find some reliable hazard removal. Removal like Defog and Rapid Spin is incredibly valuable. It prevents opponents from hazard stacking and supports Pokemon that may be very weak to hazards on your team. Now, I did say reliable removal, meaning that there's a difference between a Deliber's Rapid Spin and a Starmie's. Starmie has recovery, good typing, a high base stat total, and can have natural cure, making status not very problematic. That's why it's one of the best removal options in the format. For those of you who don't know, Defog and Rapid Spin both have their strengths and weaknesses. Here's a table listing each of them. Personally, I lean towards having Rapid Spin, but it's almost dead even that it really just doesn't bother me that much. One of the best parts about Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is that so many new Pokemon get access to Defog, making it very, very common. That's definitely one of its advantages over Rapid Spin. Number 4. Find reliable hazard setters. Just like removal is important to relieve pressure, hazard stacking is important to force your opponents into tricky situations. If you can guarantee 25% or even 50% of damage on a threat to your team, that's excellent. I like having between 3 to 5 good rockers on any team. Spikes, Sticky Webs, and Toxic Spikes can all have value, but they aren't as important as rocks are. Another new addition to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is that so many new Pokemon get access to Sticky Webs, making that a very, very valuable set of hazards. The reason why I think Stealth Rocks are the best of the hazards is that nothing is really immune to it unless you have access to Magic Guard or something like that, and they can do up to 50% damage with one hit. Another reason why it's so important to have good hazard options is that it forces your opponent to defog or rapid spin, meaning you can send in a potential sweeper or wall breaker in on that move, and then just go to town. Number 5. Find a reliable cleric. Clerics have wish passing and heal bell or aromatherapy. Their ability to support a team is invaluable. My personal favorite cleric is Clefable because it has access to both wish and heal bell, and it's immune to status damage or setup with its abilities. I will say that I don't always draft a cleric. I find it to be useful in some situations, but not very useful in others, and I'd rather fix my team as a whole and then go after a cleric. This one to me isn't entirely necessary, but it's very useful if you have a passive team, or if you just hate Toxic, T-Wave, Will-O-Wisp, and all that other shenanigans. I will say that Pokemon without reliable recovery that are very bulky, Pokemon like Mega Aggron, Pokemon like Cofagrigus even, sometimes even the Rotoms, really rely on a lot of wish passing, and they can be very, very helpful. Number 6. Make sure you have some momentum. Not everything needs momentum, but moves like U-Turn, Volt Switch, Parting Shot, and Baton Pass, if your leagues allow it, can be very, very helpful to you. With moves like this, you don't need to predict as much. You can play safely and help your team get into a better position. Of the 4 I mentioned, Parting Shot is just my favorite, but I'd say U-Turn is definitely the best. The best part about having these moves is that you can slap them on any Pokemon on any set and they can always be valuable. The only complaint I have about momentum moves is the same complaint I have with priority moves. It's that the Z moves don't actually use the effect, which really sucks because imagine using a Z Volt Switch and then switching out into something more favorable for you. That's awesome. The same thing goes with a priority Z Ice Shard, for example. That would be really cool, but I mean, I guess Pokemon and Game Freak aren't really going that direction. Number 7. Make sure you have both immediate and setup offense. Early in my YouTube days, I only drafted setup offense, and that was good for a bit, but the raw power some Pokemon provide open holes for your setup Pokemon, and vice versa. Setup allows you to often break through whatever your immediate offense can't, while immediate offense can punish Pokemon who feast on setup. One of the great debates is Magearna and Lele, should they be banned? Now Magearna does very different things than Lele. Lele just comes in, clicks a button, and gets a kill, while Magearna usually has to set up a Calm Mind or even a Shift Gear, or get a Soul Heart boost before it can do something. But either way, both are busted, and if you can get one on your team, you're very, very fortunate. Number 8. Make sure you have walls that aren't always setup fodder. Everything has a weakness, and I won't deny how strong Chansey and Blissey are in the format, but they have no offensive pressure or phasing like Roar, meaning that they're prime targets for setup. There is a difference, however, between being passive and being defensive. Avoid passive Pokemon whose best option for damage is Seismic Toss or Nightshade, or status like Toxic. Here's an example. Empoleon to me isn't the greatest wall in the world because it doesn't have reliable recovery, but it has great typing, great stats, powerful moves, and it has access to moves like Roar to phase out your opponents. Blissey, on the other hand, has no offensive pressure at all, has Wish, Protect, Heal Bell, Stealth Rocks, but it really doesn't do much other than that. That's why, to me, Empoleon is better than Blissey in the format. Number 9. Try not to repeat typings too many times. Obviously you want to have some type diversity on your team. A team with 6 dragons will be difficult to find success with. I just drafted a team with Naganadel and Mega Latias, and people were giving me hate for it. But variety, options, and having the chance to mix things up will always be your best friend in the draft league format. Cookie cutter sets aren't always the best way to go. Also, there's a difference between Pokemon of the same type. Haxorus is a physically offensive wall breaker or sweeper, while Latias is a especially offensive, bulky Pokemon. They can work well together in the right situation, unlike Vaporeon and Milotic, which get beat by the same things. My final point on typings is learn how to deal with 4x weaknesses. Pairing a Swampert and a Mantine is perfectly fine. They do different things and have no common weaknesses despite both having the water type. Number 10. Look at your speed tiers. Speed tiers are the spread of speed of the Pokemon on your roster. Try not to clump a bunch of base 80 and 90s Pokemon together because it will cause a bunch of problems while you're trying to build for faster teams. Instead, try to spread the speed stats by about 10 to 15 points. This is important for speed creeping. A base 100 Pokemon with max speed and a positive nature is slower than a max speed neutral nature base 115 Pokemon, at level 100 of course. This allows the 115 base Pokemon to run a positive attack nature, or special attack nature at least, and do more damage. As the speed stats get higher, the gap between speeds should grow. For more information on speed creeping, check out the video I made on this subject. It's linked in the description. Number 11, this is a short one. Use something that fits your playstyle. If you really struggle using stall, maybe a Toxapex Mega Sableye Chansey Core isn't the best choice for you. Use something that you're comfortable with, and that is playstyle. The way you play is very important. If you know how to set up, you know how to set up. If you can't do it, if you're not good at the timing or whatever it is, then not the best option for you. Number 12, this is by far the most important one. Use the knowledge of the people around you. 90% of my drafts, I consult my friends. Maybe they see something that fits really well together that I overlooked. Asking for advice isn't a bad thing. They might have experiences that you don't, and that can always be helpful. If you have any questions on drafting, feel free to join my personal Discord server. It's linked in the description. We have a lot of fun, and I hope to see you all there. That's all I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, or if it helped you out in any way, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you're new. I make a ton of Pokemon content from top 10s to draft league battles to pretty much whatever else you guys want to see. Again, leave a like, comment, and subscribe as well. Share the video with a friend. Follow me on Twitter at MattOshea, and if you want to see more content, click on the videos on your screen right now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.